moves to another feeling, and then this feeling empowers that thought. But what they didn't do was just simply one day say, okay, I have the feeling and the thought, now I want what I want, and make the command.
Okay.
And most people don't, and this is the part in the New Age that got a little weird. When you make a command, it doesn't have to be a thought. It can be a sound. If you have a favorite sound and you take that sound and you connect it to the thought and feeling of what it is you're commanding, and you just utter that sound, the thought and feeling being together will bring that back to you. Do you know what I mean? Instead of saying wealth, you could say kalaka. And because you've assigned wealth and that sound together, when you command it out, then it brings that back. It doesn't have to be in English, or it doesn't have to be even a word that has a meaning associated with the command. It can just simply be the energy you're releasing once you bring the thought and feeling together. So that brings me to something I would like to show. I think the whiteboard is, let me see if I can get more of the whiteboard in focus. Use my handy little gadget here, go wide angle, a little more, a little more. Okay, so I thought I had a, that'll clean up later. Okay, so most of you who've worked with energy work in the body and that kind of thing, we understand, am I getting this on? We understand that the chakras are kind of like that there's a lineup in our core like that, and that the energy moves from the earth up through the body, starting with the base chakra and ending with the crown chakra and then outward. That's actually not how the energy works in the chakras. So the energy spirals through the chakras. So it goes like this. It doesn't go straight line. It actually spirals through the chakras. So when you're working with manifesting, it's like you want to make sure the energy is really very active, and meaning active, meaning that it's not this just kind of like this static flow, but that this flow has energy to it. And so it's like when you're commanding, I don't know why I don't have an eraser. Okay, so so with manifesting, am I still on? Okay, so crown chakra, brow chakra, throat chakra, heart, solar plexus, spleen, base chakra. So this is the mediating chakras, the throat chakra. So if you have a feeling and a thought, magnetism and electric energy, and you bring them together, and you really feel the innocence of it, like This is something that is really something that you purely want for the joy of wanting it, not because you need it, not because it would be great if other people saw you having it, but just the pure joy of having it. Like money, not to be wealthy, but to have the pure joy of having this wealth, not so that you could do something with it. I'll feed the poor, I'll form a foundation. All of that stuff begins to get in the way of the manifestation. So here's your heart right here. And electromagnetic energy, there isn't a place where thought and feeling resides. You can't say it's in the heart chakra or it's in the base chakra or anything. So the heart chakra has a purity and an innocence, but the heart chakra's energy looks like that. It looks like that energy. I hope you can see that. It's two-edged, it's double-edged, the heart is. So if you have a thought and feeling and it's very innocent, and you bring that thought and feeling down to the base chakra, where you can literally feel it in the foundation of your being, in the deepest part of your being, and then you bring that energy up into the throat and say it. Either associate a sound with it or actual words with it, or not too big a sentence, but something very simple and very direct, then that's a command. That's you commanding that electromagnetic energy or that electromagnetic force. So the hardest thing is that you don't want to revisit it. So once you say it, that's it. Don't say it again. Don't then think, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing in that same place, and it seemed to work well for me, and I had that incense, and it was 10, and when you start getting into all that, where you're having to introduce a lot of details, then there's no real innocence in it. So you want to make sure that if you have this thought and feeling, and it's coming from just the pure joy of experiencing it, just the absolute pure joy, you bring that into the base chakra, which is actually bringing it into the subconscious where all of that creative force is. And then you move that subconscious up into that energy up into the throat chakra and command it. It has to be that simple and that pure. It's not about having a lot of details. It's not about, if I do it every day for 7 days, it'll be better than just doing it once. It's just simply not true. Notice that I'm not working with the crown chakra and the brow chakra. They have very little to do with manifestation. They are not of this dimension, basically. Yes, they reside at a point within our body, but the crown chakra and the pineal chakra have a totally different function within the human experience. The brow chakra is basically the exit point for your spirit when it goes adjacent, as in astral projection or soul travel, like in Ekankar, that type of thing. So, and the crown chakra is literally where you express your knowledge or your awareness of creation, for lack of a better way of saying it. So manifestation happens in the lower body. The throat chakra commands it. You've got to be as simple as you possibly can be in your commands. Don't complicate it. Don't make it something that needs to be rehashed or go over, that kind of thing. Any thoughts? No thoughts? Okay, good.
Gary, it makes me think about how even 20 years ago you were telling us that our primary relationship is with our body,
right?
and that you were prepping us for that process right there.
Right. Yep. It's actually very simple. It's we make it complicated. One of my teachers called it mental gymnastics. Was one of his favorite terms. He said, "Don't get involved in the mental gymnastics of this." And we tend to overthink things. We tend to make things much harder than they need be in everything we do, in our feelings and our thoughts. We tend to make it. I'm not clear as to why. I don't think there's anyone who can really tell us why we do that.
But Gary, I think that's really related to what you say about go beyond judgment, let go of the judgment. I think many of us kind of want to justify our desire or what we want to manifest, and we want to be right, or we want to be good about this desire to manifest. That's how it sounded like to me.
Yeah, it's all of that, but I think I think it goes back to our early training, and I don't want to keep emphasizing that, but I do believe if it's not one thing, it's your mother. A little humor there. I'm going to put a laugh track on this thing when
I'm laughing.
Oh,
I got it.
it.
You just can't hear us.
Okay, good. It's I think that it's self-importance. I think we all want to feel important, and we want to feel like we're the director of our own life. But we go about it in such a way that it takes away all of our power. We tend to think of it as more about, look at me, look what I've done, kind of thing, basically. That's what I think it is.
So that is when you know yourself, you don't need validation because you know who you are, and then you will not need that validation from anything. And then, right?
Well, we are trained to seek external validation. We're trained in that way. We are trained to seek validation from our parents, from those two great beings that feed us and clothe us and make us safe. And there's really no difference between internal validation and external validation. External is we seek it in some sign outside of us. Internal validation is validation. I think internal validation leads us to a greater understanding of ourselves. But when we seek any kind of validation, we're seeking some kind of proof as to who we are or what we are, as opposed to knowing what we are.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I spent a whole bunch of time running around the world trying to find enlightened people that would tell me how to make my life easier, or tell me how in some way that I could unfold life graciously with, with this greater sense of self. And for the most part, all I got back was meditate, do pranayama, give your devotion to this god or that goddess or this guru or that master, and everything will work out. Well, that's not the truth. the whole concept of having to do something to have something is rooted in this duality age that we've come out of. The greater the doer, the greater the having. Well, that's not how it works. How it works is your purity, your innocence, and knowing what you are. It's not about anything other than that. And not falling into the practices of the past. Like meditation happens all the time. As soon as you give up the past and the future, you're meditating. When you are in the now, you're meditating. You know, you don't have to be in a posture to do it. You don't have to be in a special room with sounds and smells, and you know, it's all of that stuff was a distraction, and actually all of it was an industry. Religion is an industry. It's not, it holds no promise, it holds no value beyond the fact that it helps us feel good sometimes. I do have to say though, going back to my early childhood, and I find this to be true even now, one of the most powerful things that you can do as a human is to sing with other people, is to vocalize with other people, either in chanting or in song. That is one of the most powerful things, because in the last unity cycle during the Atlasia period, people didn't talk. They didn't have a language. They used their voice to celebrate life. They used their voice to mimic nature, the sounds in nature. The people who could really get into the essence of a sound in nature and mimic it, they were celebrities. They were, amazing. If you can find people to just sing with, it will take you into that space that is pure innocence. There isn't any conflict in that space. And that's one of the things that I really encourage people to do a lot, is to vocalize with each other. Either chant, Om Mani Padme Hum is being chanted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. It's one of the most powerful chants by millions of people every day. We love music so much. It's so much a part of us because it takes us to a place that isn't about the past or the future. It's about that moment right there. So when you're manifesting in this new age, this new cycle, it's about innocence, and it's about simplicity, and it's about understanding what you are as a being, what you actually are. It's understanding that you command energies and forces of nature that are above the angelics. You command it when you're not into self-aggrandizement, when you're not trying to satisfy a desire. Because when your thoughts and feelings are together, there is no desire, there's only contentment. And no matter what circumstances or condition you're in, you're still in contentment. And contentment is the foundation of gratitude. And gratitude drives the machine in a big way. And without gratitude, we really can't touch our deeper innocence, that deeper space that has no conflict. And the one thing I found in my own human experience, that my gratitude increased when I gave to other people, not when I received. And to me, that's the switch. That's kind of like the turning point for gratitude. when you feel the greatest gratitude through your gifting yourself, or object or anything, but primarily yourself, that's when you're on the track. That's when you're on the path. And that's when having what you want comes at a much different space, comes in a different form than you ever imagined. So heart chakra, base chakra, throat chakra in a spiral, and command. Only command once. You don't need to go over it. Just whatever it is that you want. And so what I'd like to do is talk about this manifestation invocation. So, excuse me. I wanted to share it on screen, but for some reason I have not figured out how to do that yet. I think I need to have a second host, and then that host allows me to share screen. I think that's how it works. But on my website, The Knowing Way online, or even on GaryBonnell.com, I have a version of this. And, you know, the first line of this manifesting invocation is, I am a sovereign soul, eternal of origin. I am as the one in the one's image. And that, to me, that's pretty self-explanatory. That, you know, we're talking about the creator substance. We're talking about the primordial energy of the one. So I am a sovereign soul, eternal of origin. I am the one, as the one in the one's image. In whose name, as the Lord of creation, I joyfully invoke the presence of Baal, Foel, Thael, Throel, Thabael, Thoel, Thael, Aroel, Aphel, Aroel, Samel, Ael, Oel, Abniel, Tharimiel, Akel, Erobel, and this is, and then those are the names of 18 very strong angels. And the reason why you want to invoke the presence of angels is because they're your peerage. You are of their status. You are invoking this tribe that you belong to, this gathering that you belong to, and that you, because you can invoke them, you also put yourself in the position that you are like the orchestrator of a large orchestra. You're the one who brings everybody together in that moment to create that expression. For I invoke you, 18 archangels of the body of Yeoyeka. Yeoyeka is, if we could say that there is an earth spirit, like Gaia is the earth spirit, Yeoyeka is the spirit of our solar system. It's the energy that basically holds everything in place. So, again, I invoke you, 18 archangels of the body of Yeoyeka, that you hearken to me and send to me, and then you declare Anthoneth, Anthoneth. And what that is, it's almost like you're saying, listen, listen, like hear this. That is Gabriel, the archangel of righteousness, that he come to me, and in this particular version, and I'll send this to you, that he come to me awakening my body to wellness and spirit to wealth as his presence guides my pure intentions to immediate outcomes, that he rouse my instinctual intelligence and knowing mind to woken enlightenment, that he empower all elements and they're collaborating archangels, angels, seraphs, seraphim, cherubim, and watchers who preside over Earth's many realms. And then, so now we go into some very specific names, and these names are very ancient doers. And when I say doers, these names are of beings who are very profound in their ability to manifest and to attract. And it's believed that these deities or these entities were commanded by King Solomon. So watchers who preside over Earth's many realms, guide Obiut, Gernabiut, and Gernabiel, Pawe Huret, Ethres et Soma, Nazareth Christos, Becerra, Panuta, Karas, Pasoma, as they make ready to present my manifest command now and forever more, and that my manifest commands be joyously supported by all elemental beings, that as I receive, I give through gratitude and pure joy to benefit of all. And then I invoke their combined powers to guide my thoughts and actions as I gracefully unfold through gratitude the intention of millions of dollars, if that's what you wanted. I invoke their combined powers to guide my thoughts and actions as I gracefully unfold through sovereignty to enlightenment, if that's what you wanted. And this is where you can put into this command or this invocation what you want. Mighty companion, and then it goes on, mighty companions, I command your presence, radiate your power through me in every relationship, that I am a comfort to all. Open my intuitive knowing that I see beyond time and space. I command Senyo, Sanyasno, and Simeon Luf to radiate the power of the angels through me, that I command clarity of body, mind, and spirit. Stand with me. And then it goes on and then repeats it. So this manifesting invocation has been around for a long time. It's not something that was just created. It's been around for thousands of years. So actually you can go into some tombs in ancient Egypt and see segments of this particular invocation. The invocation back then was used to guide the spirit of the Pharaoh as he moved from this dimension to the next. So what this invocation also does, when you state these names, it commands the energy of adjacent realms. And we haven't spoken about that yet. So where you sit, right up against you is an adjacent realm. Everything here is mind, but and every person is an adjacent mind. But there are also adjacencies where beings reside, where they have other hierarchical orders of life, but they're in many ways reflections of our own adjacencies within our dimension. So if every mind is an adjacency that learns how to consensually collaborate to form a reality, then all these other adjacencies are like that. They all work together to support one another, to each adjacency supporting the next adjacency. I think in Fred Alan Wolf's book, he called it parallel universes. I think in Michael Talbot's book, he called it holographic universe. It's basically that everything is contained within the whole, but everything is also an individuated expression within the whole. It's like having a drop within the ocean and all the other drops helping to complete the ocean. So when you use an invocation like this, you are extending out and calling out to these other supportive adjacencies, not only through the elementals and the angelics, but you're calling for the energy to support you in your command. And the reason why you don't want to do this, like, you don't want to say this every morning. You can simply say it once. Now, there are other ways to use this. There is another way to use it, that if you repeated it 33 days in a row, that it would totally transform, well, I don't want to say your mind, but it would expand your awareness through your consciousness.